everyone. I'm Brian Griffin, and welcome to today's discussion on tribalism. This discussion involves the ramifications, development, and social psychology of tribalism. We will discuss the origins of tribalism and the impact, current views, and research on the phenomenon. I hope you enjoyed this discussion, and please join in the comments below. This is not counseling, nor is this to be construed as a counseling relationship. There are resources below. Tribalism is noted to be present over the entire course of human history, on differing scales and in differing forms. Tribes are, simply, groups of humans sharing life. Merriam-Webster defines tribes as a social group comprising of numerous families, clans, or generations together with slaves, dependents, or adopted strangers. A political division in ancient Rome, or a group of persons having common character, occupation, or interests. It's important to make a distinction between tribe as a social construct, or an organization, and tribal in terms of lifestyle. It appears that the raw human capacity of innate ability has not changed in the past 40,000 years. That is, genetically, humans achieve physical and mental development at the end of the Upper Paleolithic. As any historian would say, we are not more intelligent than our ancestors, merely that we know different things. History, the written account at least, takes place after the development of civilization, which was organically built upon the structure of the tribe. Social ability develops rapidly with human development. Infants have been observed to interact with adults in such a way that demonstrates an ability to predict outcomes to a limited degree. This development is referred to as psychosocial development. This psychosocial development continues largely independent of external input until around adolescence. At this point, psychosocial development shifts from self-driven, assisted by caretakers or caregivers, to group identity, focused. Adolescents are most likely to conform to groupthink or to peer pressure. This suggests that social organization is most likely to be possible around the point of the brain development of early adolescents and children. It is, of course, an assumption that humanity developed parallel to human development. If so, then we could reasonably say that the tribal social structure developed sometime prior to the Upper Paleolithic and not afterwards. This implies, again socially, tribes would be the most basic of the social constructs. In many ways, it points back to the definition. It must be as the social connection between family is not dependent upon shared genetics. That is, any human adult can equally raise any human child, broadly speaking. This means that the ability to interact with family affords the same ability to interact with outsiders. Children have been found incredibly malleable and capable of any language at an early enough age. This highlights why one practice in tribes included taking children and raising them as their own, for a myriad of different reasons, but these children act as if they've always belonged. Tribes assist a group of people achieve common goals. This fundamental goal is that of survival, which, while not easy, is repeatedly achieved daily by the members. The Aboriginals have demonstrated the ability to achieve this goal for the past 50,000 years or more. Their continual existence as hunter-gatherers while maintaining an extensive, complex cultural identity effectively demonstrates Maslow's hierarchy of needs being fulfilled by a technologically primitive society. The Aboriginals provide an excellent example of the parallel development of societies in which a clear choice was made to continue a less centralized but still widespread cultural identity, as opposed to the close-knit, homogeneous cultural identity that has been found in more technological societies. It's not apparent that the choice to move from tribal to clan or dynastic is a different system, however, beyond the shift to a more static lifestyle and a tendency towards a more rigid social structure. During this transition, the fear of the stranger has continued to remain prevalent. Archaeological evidence shows that the past was very violent compared to today. As humanity was marching towards protecting itself from the stranger, it has expanded the encountered other into the fold, or has sought to destroy the stranger. It was common for the Roman Republic to declare war, not for conquest, but rather to prevent attacks against itself. Rome kept the term of tribe to describe its political structure, and exemplifies incorporating key aspects of tribes, the shared beliefs, characteristics, values, mythos, as a whole. Rome united peoples into a group, again to those common goals, values, beliefs, and ideals, until such a time that it expanded either into other tribes that were unwilling to be assimilated, or that they were unable to subdue, and gives rise to new ones built upon the bones of old ones. Perhaps the most recent example is the collapse of the Soviet bloc and the rise of nation-states in the former territories. In the wake of the 20th century, the formerly coherent political structure of Europe collapsed into ethnocentric nationalities, particularly in Eastern Europe and the former Austro-Hungarian Empire. In the meanwhile, certain structures have persisted beyond any governmental organization. This seems to be a major trait of tribalism, a bond that surpasses allegiance to a government, to a goal, or to a cause. After the collapse of a government, people suffer a reorganizational crisis, but tend to reform into old ancient patterns. Oftentimes, an organization united for a cause evaporates when the goal is achieved, if it was achievable, or is exhausted of the drive. Communism, for example, was thought to be inexhaustible, yet it was demonstrated as being untenable for any lengthy duration. At this point, there are no large-scale organizations based on communism, giving this government a rather short lifespan. This again highlights that tribes are more than just groups dedicated to a goal or even a set of goals, as well as sharing more than just beliefs or just values. Tribes seem to have an overarching connection that brings them together. It appears that these shared beliefs, at least at a fundamental level of the same understanding and interpretation of the world, values, from which virtues that will be aspired to, and vices which are to be avoided, was a part of the goal of survival of self and tribe. In a way, this explains the dream time of the Aboriginals. This shared belief extends to every aspect of life. So, being a mythic lesson in a fairy tale history, and an explanation that's ingrained into the unconsciousness. As I shift from tribalism today, it's important to address the inherent negative bias to the world. Today, it has been used to describe the intense echo chambers of political affiliation and an automatic ingrained rejection of the stranger. This is not unique to a particular political loyalty either, being equally present in both conservative and liberal parties across the globe. Instead of inherently negative, perhaps it would be used to ask why does political ideology trigger a tribal response that can override, seemingly, other tribal memberships. This can likely be answered by the development of how modern politics have replaced moral structures previously found in the mythos of spirituality and religion. The development and progress of human morality, of course, is a massive topic and certainly beyond the scope of a single video. But I hope you've enjoyed this brief discussion of tribalism. Sources will follow, and please comment below. Give me some wonderful feedback, perhaps even a like, and subscribe for more. Thank you.